Miraji, members of the trust, and distinguished citizens of Bangalore city and from other places. Today is a cultural event, and I would like to say a few words about the culture of India. Culture is connected with the civilization of a nation, and we are the longest unbroken and surviving civilization in the world. Recently, the UNESCO had tabulated all the civilizations that have come into existence and found that there were about 46 known civilizations. But surprisingly, 45 of them have disappeared, be it Greek civilization, Roman civilization, Egyptian civilization, Mesopotamia, Babylon. But one civilization not only has not disappeared, but has continued unbroken, and that is the Indian civilization, which we are here to celebrate. And the reason is that the cultural system that we have in this country permeates throughout the length and breadth of the country and is based on not on any rigid enforcement, but by shared values. And these shared values are what constitutes our civilization. We have always believed that material progress should be harmonized with spiritual values. And therefore, we have never elevated material progress as the end-all and be-all of one's life. Western countries have a one-dimensional view of material prosperity, and they pursue it with single-minded zeal. But in our country, we don't judge people by material prosperity. It always used to be a wonder for people in Western countries how millions and millions of people followed Mahatma Gandhi, whom one American once described to me as a man who is not fit to be a leader because he is not properly dressed, because he just wore a loincloth. But for the Indian, he symbolized the ultimate in our cultural value, life of sacrifice and commitment to the nation. And therefore, we have found all through our history that people who enjoyed the highest status in our society were people who were of great learning and also at the same time lived an extremely simple life. Even the kings in the old days used to bow before such people. And that's why they were called rishis. And the king had to take permission of the rishis in order to execute any major action such as a war. Whereas in the Western world, the king was the complete monarch. He could make all the decisions. Even in dispensing justice, the king could not dispense justice without the advice of the learned people, whom he always had given a pride of place in the kingdom. So this is one great aspect of our culture which we should not forget, because we find increasingly today in our spiritual gurus' ashrams, people from the West coming in large numbers. I recently went to a gathering of more than 1 lakh people in Sri Ravi Shankar's ashram, and I was surprised to find at least 10,000 people came from Europe and America. And each of them was personally very rich and well-to-do. But when I asked them why they came, when they had everything that they wanted, they said, one thing we have not been able to learn in our country, and that is how to be happy. And we were told that the best way to learn how to be happy is to come to India and learn from these spiritual gurus. So this is the kind of culture that had its checks and balances. We have always believed in converting people to our point of view through discussion, which in Sanskrit was called Shastrat. The great Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, went through the length and breadth of India right up to Kashmir, bringing everybody to his point of view by discussion. At no stage in this country we have burnt religious books of another religion. And there are religions which were persecuted in different parts of the world. We looked after them and gave them homes. The Parsis came from Persia after their country was invaded and massacred. And they came and we took them, we gave them place to stay in Gujarat, and now they have prospered into one of the most prosperous communities of our country. Similarly, the Jews came to this country after being persecuted everywhere, and we built their synagogues in Cochin and in Bombay, and they lived absolutely happily, unpersecuted. In fact, the first resolution passed in the Israeli parliament after adopting the constitution was to thank India as the only country which did not persecute the Jews. This is the tradition we have. We have unfortunately been through foreign invasions, and there's been distortion in our value system. But much of the past which has become fossilized, we now have to change and think in terms of a renaissance. And therefore today, to dedicate ourselves to culture and its glory and its ancient forms, and to understand the true essence of the ideology of culture that we have, which is never in the history we have invaded any country, and we have always accepted all religious paths lead to God. And therefore, as being the unique cultural system, we have to defend it with all our might. I'm therefore very happy and proud. This is my second year to come for a function organized by Meeraji. This kind of functions will definitely assist in continuing the glory of our culture and civilization into the future. Thank you very much.